Not my tempo. Oh, released in theaters and on Disney Plus on Christmas 2020, and starring the voices of Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, Graham Norton, Rachel House, Questlove, and Angela Bassett. Joe Gardner is a middle school music teacher, but has the inner desire to be a professional pianist for a jazz company. And one day he gets to audition to play piano for Doretha Williams and gets the gig. And on his way home, he is so overjoyed with the opportunity, thinking that this is his big moment to get out of teaching and get into the professional music world, that he falls into a manhole cover and ends up in a coma. However, the problem is that his soul is now being lifted to the great beyond, where he is assigned to mentor a very cynical soul by the number 22, who doesn't necessarily want to live a life on Earth, so they come to an agreement where they will find 22's inner spark and give it to Joe's soul so that he can get back into his body and make his jazz gig on time. If there is one aspect of this movie that they get absolutely 100% correct, it's the desire and the passion and the cutthroatness of a musician trying to make a gig. I grew up in the arts world. My wife grew up in the arts world. In particular with her, she grew up in the music world, who recommended this movie, so thank you very much, Tammy. I love you so much. I'm the biggest supporter on this channel, and this review is for you. But we understand this character of Joe tremendously. He's a middle school teacher who is teaching music to these young kids who the majority of them are just taking it because they have to take it, whether it's because the school is making them take it or it's because their parents want them to learn a musical instrument, and they're just so, I guess, depassionized or so angry that they're teaching the art as opposed to them doing the professional aspect of the arts themselves, that they fail to see the passion of that one student that they have, or the talent of one musician that is in their band, that if they honed in on them, they can make them into something big when they get older. Now, I am a teacher of theater, and at my university, I teach theater to people who are not theater majors. Everyone is taking my intro to theater courses because it's a gen ed. The university is, for lack of a better word, forcing them to take a certain number of arts electives. So I understand teaching art to someone that doesn't find it interesting. And that's the joy that I get from teaching. It's teaching how important art is and how important theater is and how important music is in just real life in general. That's what I tell my students at the beginning of every semester. My goal is to convince all of you that this stuff is important, that you should give a little bit of a damn about it at the end. I get that you're not going into this for your career. I understand that. But theater, but art is out there for everyone. That's what Joe needs to realize here. And we understand his blindsidedness to that aspect because the arts world really looks down on teachers. That may be a very controversial thing to say, but in my experience, dealing with other people in the arts world, teachers that I've had, professionals that I've worked with, they look down on people who teach the art as opposed to professional actors or professional musicians, singers, instrumentalists, what have you. And they will all say, no, no, teachers are great. They're the reason why people grow up to learn about art. They're so, so important. All of that is a front. And I know I'm painting in broad strokes here and being very generic, but just from my experience, artists look down on people who teach art. They feel like they sold out or they took the easy path. They didn't put in the grind. They didn't put in the work to become a professional actor or professional singer. So to see this character go from thinking that way, thinking that teaching theater, that teaching art, that teaching piano, teaching jazz to younger people who are learning that aspect or trying to find that spark to them, seeing someone that thinks that that is beneath them and seeing their journey to where they get to a point where they realize, you know, teaching, inspiring, and mentoring young people into finding that spark so that they can live their life with some kind of happiness, that is the best gift that you can give someone. Actually, saying that out loud makes me very, very emotional. And I know it makes my wife very emotional because she bawled her eyes out when she saw this film for the very first time. That's the message of this film. You know, you could have that spark, you can have that passion to play jazz, to sing, to act, to perform, to draw, to do whatever. But just because you have a passion for something doesn't mean that that defines who you are, that that defines your life. And if you don't become a professional whatever, doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means that you have that spark, that willingness to live your life, and that's all you need to do. There is no set law, no set path of what you need to do in life that makes your life valuable. You have life. That's the value in it right there. There is no meaning behind life or whatever. You just have life. And that's all the meaning that you need, and you should take happiness and solace in knowing that. I feel like I'm being very philosophical with this movie review, and I don't feel like I've talked about this movie at all. But that's what's so great about this film. It has so much philosophy behind it, all from a frickin' Disney movie. Again, I will say it's a little jarring. Growing up as a kid, you know, my Disney characters, their biggest problems were, you know, fighting a big giant snake, or fighting off a big buff jerk in France, or fighting a homosexual lion and a bunch of hyenas. But nowadays, we have characters who are trying to overcome, you know, death. Things that kids really shouldn't be thinking about. But I remember the first time watching this movie, and when Joe falls into that manhole, I thought, oh my god, they didn't just kill him. They killed him? This is like the first 3 minutes! These Disney films, man, dealing with all this tough adult crap, it's a little too much. Now, I do feel a little disconnect from the character of 22. And really, this whole Great Before playing field, visually, I think the concept of it is really cool. It's just everything is so colorless. There's a lot of whites and off-whites and light blues and sky blues that it kind of just looks like a real pale screen, to me at least. And this character of 22, for the majority of this film, is pretty bratty, and I didn't really connect with them. Again, I'm focusing on the character of Joe. Not necessarily that I want Joe to succeed, but I want to reach into the screen and shake him and think, oh my god, just shut up, stop for one moment. Being a professional musician is not everything in the world. Plus, the artist that he's playing for is one giant jerk. She shows up for the audition and she's just giving him the side eye and making snide remarks and not giving him the benefit of the doubt until eventually he proves her wrong and he's able to play very beautifully with her. But just her attitude as a professional musician, I'm like, if that's the attitude you're coming into this with, I don't care how famous you are, I don't want to work with you. I've gone into auditions and I've worked with casting directors who, majority of them are actually very welcoming and they want you to succeed, they want you to do well. I mean, that's their whole job. They're looking for the right person to fit their role, to fit their position. There have been one or two casting directors who have been basically this person. Where's my latte? Okay, go play your thing and see what you do. We'll probably call next. Like, you shouldn't do your job. I'm sorry. The film is a big joyride. It's a great family film for everyone in the family to gather around and watch. It is Disney, so we have to have a humanized, animalistic character in here. So when Joe's spirit comes back down to Earth, accidentally entering the cat, that part is pretty hilarious, even though the cat's soul, when that happens, they just flash quickly to it, and they show the cat just slowly going to the great beyond, and you know, it's so quick that you barely realize what's actually happening is that Joe's soul is killing the cat's soul for Joe being kind of a jerk. And I'm like, no, no, bring the cat back. What did the cat do? No! The movie almost kills the cat. And you know me with animal deaths in movies. I'm gonna give Soul 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
Alright everyone, so at this point, this is where I usually select the movie that I'm gonna be watching next at random, but I'm actually selecting this hand-picking, I guess. There was a movie that came out last week called Space Jam: A New Legacy, and I am a huge fan of the original Space Jam. That was my jam growing up. Michael Jordan was my guy, the Chicago Bulls, huge fan here, who wasn't back in the 90s. But I have an HBO Max subscription, and I want to review the new movies that are coming out on that platform, and here's LeBron James stepping in the role of Michael Jordan, and I'm interested to see what they do with it. I like the Monster Squad. Are they gonna reappear here? Lola Bunny? We haven't seen her on screen, I don't think, since the last Space Jam. What's she been doing for the last 25, 30 years? We'll check out Space Jam 2, A New Legacy next time. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, you can make a PayPal donation on the main page of my YouTube channel. Any size donation will do, just attach your movie recommendation with your donation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, give you a shout out on the channel, and get my review of it published as quickly as I possibly can. So guys, have you seen Soul? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell so you know the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Space Jam, A New Legacy. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.